We're about to get underway for the Dutch Grand Prix. Qualifying yesterday was very entertaining. I doubt the race will be just as entertaining, but we'll see. As here comes Lance Stroll and Ollie Bearman. Ollie Bearman going into the pit entry, which is on the right. Safety car comes out, the medical car, I should say, comes out from the side of the straight and lines up behind the 19 drivers, not 20, 19 that are taking to the grid. 3, 4, 5, cease. And we are underway. It's a good start from Lando Norris. And is he going to be able to get the jump on Oscar Piastri? No, he's not. But Max Verstappen's got an even better launch than both of them. And Verstappen tries to take the lead into turn 1. But he doesn't manage to. Piastri gives him the hard shoulder. And Norris and Verstappen going side by side into turn 2. And Verstappen's hit Norris. Verstappen and Norris have had contact. And I think they've both gotten away with it just fine. But honestly, this first lap, absolutely chaotic. Verstappen gets ahead of Norris. And already it's advantage Piastri in this Grand Prix. Because now, Piastri not only has track position, but a car between him and Norris. A car which probably isn't as quick as the McLarens are. 4th is still Hadjar. And then 5th, Leclerc. 6th, Russell. 7th, Hamilton. And then in 8th is Liam Lawson. 9th is Alex Albon, or Carlos Sainz. Alex Albon's had a great start. He's up into the top 10 already after starting down in 15th. I don't know if he's 9th or 10th, but both Williams cars running line astern. It was a poor start for Fernando Alonso, who's now down into 13th. 11th is Tsunoda, 12th is Russell, and then you've got the 2 Alpines just behind Alonso in 14th and 15th. The 2 Saubers just behind them in 16th and 17th, and then Stroll and Ocon at the back. But there was contact, I think, between Verstappen and Norris. Either that or there was heavy sparks flying as down the inside Leclerc tries to go on Isack Hadjar, but he's not able to make the move work. And now the Mercedes driver's right behind, the Mercedes driver George Russell right behind him. And Albon, I'm right, Albon's had a great start and he's gotten himself up into 10th, Ocon 16th. Then 17th Hulkenberg, 18th Bortoleto, 19th Stroll, and then Bearman last, a few seconds behind because he started in the pit lane. But a very, very interesting opening lap. Verstappen on the softs is hard charging. He is doing the aggressive 2-stop strategy, which didn't work for Piastri in Hungary, and did work to Norris's advantage because he went on the 1-stop. And is that going to work for Red Bull today? Because it didn't work for them out in Hungary. But the gap, 1.9 seconds now between Piastri and Verstappen. It's currently Piastri in the lead, then Verstappen, Norris, Hadjar, Leclerc still ahead of Russell. But Leclerc is now pressuring Hadjar, as is Russell. Lawson is not too far behind either, but Hadjar isn't able to keep up with Lando Norris and has now dropped outside of DRS of the McLaren driver. But he got a good exit there out of Bocht 10, and now coming into the chicanes, or should I say, Bocht 10 and into the chicanes, the Hans Ernst Bocht, as now heading on to lap 5 of 72. It is still Piastri in the lead, ahead of Max Verstappen and Lando Norris. And, well, it certainly looks like there's a fair bit of traffic, as let's have a little look at the race start. So initially I thought Lando Norris actually got a rather good getaway. But I think more so it was the fact that Oscar Piastri got a poor start, Verstappen got an even better one than the both of them, and then coming around the outside was Verstappen. Now, I'm not sure, was there contact between the two? I thought there was, but was there contact? I honestly don't know if there was contact between Verstappen and Norris. We'll need to get a better look at that, but Piastri didn't actually get that good a start, but he was able to defend sufficient enough to stay ahead of Verstappen. He showed him the gravel, basically. Verstappen was side by side with Norris, and was there contact between the two? No, there wasn't. Verstappen just, what on earth happened there? He didn't get on the, he must have gotten on the dust, but he managed to save it from a crash. Here's a replay of it as Verstappen goes around the outside. He gets onto the dirty part of the track, which not many drivers really occupy because it's not part of the racing line, but he managed to stay ahead and used master car control there. Meanwhile, Gabriel Bortoleto had an awful start from 13th and dropped down right to the back, pretty much, of the drivers who started on the grid. And that is definitely not going to help his race out. As you can see, his teammate Nico Hulkenberg ahead there. He tried to go side by side with Stroll, but he wasn't able to well, he was able to get ahead briefly, but then Stroll went around the outside. There was a bit of contact between the two, but it was a good move from Stroll. He'll be hoping to keep his car clean, considering the fact that Alpine have needed to basically repair his car twice in the last... Not Alpine, Aston Martin have had to repair his car twice in the last 2 days. And when I mean Alpine, I'm talking about Colapinto and Gasly having a little battle for 14th here. A lovely little move from Colapinto, but Gasly will argue, hey, he didn't leave me enough room there. But we're on lap 6 now. There's going to be rain in 3 minutes time. So what is going to happen with strategy here? Is this why Red Bull decided to start on the softs, and same with Colapinto and Hülkenberg? Did they anticipate the rain, or were they just looking to get a better start, if possible, if there was a safety car early on? And Bortoleto in 18th and 19th are in a Haas sandwich. Here's a little look at the contact between Bortoleto and Stroll. It was quite minor. I don't think there was really much damage to either car. Oh, as I say that, they show Bortoleto's front wing is a little bit broken, and the collision between him and Stroll at turn 11, which is the Hans Ernst Bocht, is under investigation, or is being noted, I should say, which means it is going to be looked at, and whether or not it'll be under investigation is down to the stewards. And there goes Lando Norris trying to get a move done on Max Verstappen. He goes around the outside, and it's a great move from Norris, and he goes up into second. Now he needs to try and catch up to his teammate Oscar Piastri. The gap 4.5 seconds, and maybe Verstappen's tyres are starting to go off now. But Lance Stroll's coming into the pits. I don't know if he has damage from the collision with Bortoleto or if he's gotten a penalty, but he's pitting onto a set of hards. Are Aston Martin getting the hard tyres on because they don't think the rain's going to come? What's happening here? Lance Stroll is currently 12th in the standings, and Lando's engineer, Will Joseph, saying, nice job, let's go and get Oscar. But it's going to be a very difficult job because Oscar has been very, very quick around Zandvoort. Both of them have been very even on pace throughout the weekend, so for Norris to get 4.4 seconds will be a tough ask, but Verstappen immediately covered the defensive line. Norris simply had more momentum around the outside. Verstappen tried to leave him a car's width, but be really aggressive with him, but it wasn't enough, and eventually Lando Norris got ahead and went into second position. But at the moment, we've got battles going on throughout the field. Antonelli and Yuki Tsunoda battling for 11th place here, which is wooden spoon for now, but Antonelli having a little look, isn't able to get the move done on Tsunoda, who knows that he wouldn't try something so aggressive from that far back, because that would not work and would end in nothing but tragedy for the two of them.
In the business, we call this foreshadowing.
And Mercedes and Red Bull would once again be relying solely on Russell and Max Verstappen, although to be fair to Kimi Antonelli, he is only 19 years old, and this is his rookie Formula 1 season, and he only has done like 2.5 seasons of single-seaters, so I don't get why people are so harsh on him. But anyway, Russell's in 6th at the moment, and he has dropped right off Charles Leclerc. However, one driver who has kept up with him is Leclerc's teammate Lewis Hamilton, who is within DRS of him. Alpine are getting ready with their tyres, probably for Colapinto, based on the fact that he's on the softs. They said that the rain was going to come in 2 or 3 minutes time about 4 or 5 laps ago, and it's not came yet. We can't see any spitters on the television anyway, and no further investigation for the Stroll and Bortoleto incident, which I would be inclined to agree with. And despite the fact that I said it'll be tricky for Lando to close up on Oscar, Lando's gained 3/10 on that last lap on the Australian, as here comes Oscar Piastri still leading the race, but Lando Norris closing in fast on him. The gap 3.3 seconds now, so Norris has gained over a second on him over the past 5 or 6 laps. So Piastri, he could be managing his tyres, as I said earlier. Well, yep, there you go. There's the pace comparison over the last 4 laps. Norris has gained pretty much an average of around about 1.5 to 2/10 on his teammates, and he's still plugging away at that gap, about 2/10 a lap on average. It was 3/10 on 2 of the laps, 1/10 on one of them, and just under a 1/10 on another. So at the moment, the order is Oscar Piastri, Lando Norris, Max Verstappen, Isack Hadjar, Charles Leclerc, George Russell, Lewis Hamilton, Liam Lawson, Carlos Sainz, Alex Albon, Yuki Tsunoda, Kimi Antonelli, Fernando Alonso, Pierre Gasly, Franco Colapinto, Nico Hülkenberg, Esteban Ocon, Gabriel Bortoleto, Ollie Behrman, and Lance Stroll. That's your 20 drivers in order at the moment. As into the pits comes Tsunoda to react to Fernando Alonso. And he's going to put on the hard tyres as well and try to go to the end. But he's going to be held by both Franco Colapinto and Nico Hülkenberg. And that was a slow stop. Where is the Aston Martin? There is Fernando Alonso. And Tsunoda is going to be behind the Aston Martin by the look of things. And that is crucial for Alonso's race, because now he has cleared both Antonelli and Tsunoda and got himself up into 11th place in this race on net pace. But Hamilton's saying definitely have to undercut these guys. It's hard to get closer, and Ferrari is saying we are on it. So Hamilton and Leclerc potentially looking to undercut Hadjar and Russell to try and get themselves into 4th and 6th place. Although, if Hamilton's undercut is powerful enough, he could get himself all the way up into 4th if he pits much earlier. There is still rain around the track, but it is very light, and it's unlikely to have much of an impact on the strategy as it stands. Is Hamilton going to come into the pits? No, he's not. He's continuing for another lap. But Leclerc's coming in, and he's doing an undercut on Hadjar. Now, will this undercut pay off for Ferrari? It's all about how quick the stop is, and you say what you want about Ferrari's strategy. One thing they've gotten really good this season is their pit team. 2 seconds flat on that pit stop there. He's wanting to get out ahead of Antonelli, but a yellow flag, and Lewis Hamilton's out of the race. Hamilton's out. He's hit the wall just as he was talking about undercutting, and that is the Ferrari driver out of the Dutch Grand Prix. It will be back-to-back non-scores for Lewis Hamilton. He didn't score in Hungary, and he hasn't scored here. And that's him out of the race, and it's going to be a safety car out now. And here comes the McLarens coming into the pits. It's 4.7 seconds between the two of them. However, McLaren need to try and get both of them to come in and out. So Hamilton out of the race now, and that leaves 19 drivers left in the field. McLaren do their double stack and go onto the hard tyres. They can take their time with the stop. Oh! And the jack wasn't fully down there, and Piastri's pulled away from Norris even more. But here comes everybody coming into the pits. And Leclerc has come in a lap too early, and the Aston Martins are going to be massively screwed over by this strategy. They were hoping to try and jump the likes of Antonelli, and it looks like they're not going to be able to. Although, we will see Russell's come in, 3.4 second stop for him. Now, whereabouts are the likes of the Aston Martins? We haven't seen them coming down the straight. Well, there's Charles Leclerc now going down the pit straight, and he's been jumped by George Russell quite comfortably in this race. Whereabouts are the Aston Martins? The Aston Martins are coming out of the final banking now. Now, are they going to be anywhere near Antonelli, Albon, or Gasly? No, they're not. And they're going to be right at the back of the midfield pack. Now, here's a replay of what happened with Lewis Hamilton, who is now, of course, out of this race. He comes in towards the banking, and I'm guessing he just oversteers, and yes, he does, and he goes into the barriers, into the banking, and he is out of the 2025 Dutch Grand Prix. Back-to-back non-scores. Ferrari, I mean, Leclerc's been jumped by Russell, safety car's ending, and I'll take you through what the order is now after all of that. It is still Piastri, Norris, Verstappen, and then Hadjar, but then it is George Russell ahead of Charles Leclerc, Liam Lawson up into 7th, Carlos Sainz in 8th, Esteban Ocon in 9th, although he is yet to pit, Alex Albon in 10th, Kimi Antonelli in 11th, Lance Stroll in 12th, Ollie Behrman in 13th, Fernando Alonso in 14th, Yuki Tsunoda in 15th, Pierre Gasly 16th, Franco Colapinto in 17th, and then the two Saubers 18th and 19th at the moment. But here's a replay of so yeah, Norris went, but the Jackman wasn't ready. But we're about to restart here. I think he'll go after the Kummelbocht, and he hasn't. He's gone after the Hans Ernstbocht, and Lando Norris is sleeping, and Max Verstappen is right on the tail of him. But he has been able to pull away a little bit on the exit And right behind, there is two drivers that are looking very feisty. George Russell's one of them, and the other one is Alex Albon. And Carlos Sainz looking feisty as well. Into turn 1, Hadjar defending from George Russell. Meanwhile, further back, the Haas of Esteban Ocon tried to defend from Alex Albon, but Alex Albon has got ahead. Sainz has dropped down 2 places, and there goes two cars with issues, and that's Lawson and Sainz. They've had contact by the look of things, and that is their chances of points gone. And just like that, Aston Martin's daily's a little bit better now. Stroll up into 10th, might be able to get 9th based on Ocon having to pit, but that is an awful, awful incident for Liam Lawson and Carlos Sainz, both of whom were running very strongly in the points the entire race. I don't know why I'm starting to sound like Robert F. Kennedy. Hang on a second. So Antonelli's gotten ahead of Ocon. The track conditions greasy and slippery, and it looks as though Lawson and Sainz have got some sort of problem because they've had an incident and they're going a lot slower than they should be. Tsunoda and Alonso are having a lovely little scrap for 12th at the moment, but instead the cameras are focused on something else, which is the battle for 4th. But the order at the moment is Piastri, Norris, Verstappen, Hadjar, Russell, Leclerc, Albon, Antonelli, Ocon, Stroll, Behrman, Tsunoda, Alonso, Gasly, Colapinto, Bortoleto, Hulkenberg, and then the two drivers with misfortune, Carlos Sainz and Liam Lawson, down in 18th and in 19th. Here's a replay of what happened between the two of them, the Williams and the Racing Bull. So Sainz going for the inside, he decides to try and go to the outside, and I'm guessing what would have happened was Lawson and him had contact, yep, and Lawson got a puncture and Sainz front wing damage. Albon witnessed everything happening ahead of him, and he got ahead of Sainz quite quickly, and then he had to try and move very, 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 very drastically to get ahead of Albon, and Sainz saying that Lawson was a bit stupid for that move. Sainz also got a puncture as well. So that's both the races run, unless there is another safety car, because if you didn't know already, how a safety car works is if there are any drivers that are a lap down, they can rejoin the race at the end of the field and restart from there. But here's a replay of Sainz getting past Lawson, and there was a bit of debris that came off his car, and that for Pride more so, because it's for 18th and 19th place, which is basically to not be last in the race. But meanwhile, oh, we got a virtual safety car, and could that be because of the debris on the straight, perhaps? Let's have a little look. Is it going to be because of that? It probably is. We are back underway at Circuit Zandvoort, lap 32 out of 72. And look at this. Charles Leclerc right behind George Russell. And he's going to try and go for a move here into the Hans Bocht. And there's contact, but Leclerc gets his way through. And that is a Gilles Villeneuve-esque move at the very same track where Villeneuve drove on 3 wheels at a ridiculous pace, and that was a phenomenal move there from Charles Leclerc at the Hans Ernst Bocht. Oh, and that's a very, very risky move from Leclerc there. Second race in a row where he's moved very late, and Russell will have valid criticism there to give of Leclerc, but Leclerc fighting for every single position as if it's his life. And I love how aggressive a driver he is, even if sometimes he can be overly aggressive. Russell will be getting onto the radio for that. Sainz has gotten a 10-second penalty for the collision, which I think's the wrong decision, because I think Lawson turned into him, but Leclerc gets ahead. He's going to be wanting to chase after Hadjar now and trying to pull a 5-second gap on Russell in case of a penalty, but Hadjar still running in 4th as it stands, on course to get up to 9th or 10th. I think he thinks 10th in the Formula 1 standings. Antonelli has now got ahead of Alex Albon for 7th, and that is a very, very good result for the Mercedes driver and for Mercedes and the constructors, because of course Ferrari are only picking up points with one driver at the moment, and as a result Mercedes may have a chance to close in on Ferrari in the constructors battle. I think it says 260 points Ferrari have. Let me just go and check that very quickly. Let's have a wee gander. And yes, so Mercedes are currently 24 points behind Ferrari, as it stands, they will be picking up more points than them. Leclerc is a man on a mission right now. He's already pulled 2 seconds out on George Russell, and he's already half a second behind Hadjar. I think Leclerc could be a podium contender here if he can get ahead of Hadjar, unlike the earlier parts of the race. But we've got a yellow flag for a track hazard, and somebody's had an incident. I don't know who it is. It doesn't say it doesn't show anybody dropping down the timing order, although it could be a Sauber maybe. Well, we've gotten back underway anyway, and it doesn't show anything about anybody having an incident, so not sure what's happened there, but somebody has certainly had an incident, or there's been a bit of debris on the track. But we're almost at half race distance now, and it is still McLaren 1-2 at the moment. But this is going to be interesting, because if Leclerc can get ahead of Hadjar, Ferrari will move on to 272 points, while Mercedes, as it stands, are picking up 14 points and will move on to 250. So Ferrari, as it stands, will lose 2 points to Mercedes this weekend, and the collision between Leclerc and Russell has been noted. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that one for sure. So Russell's damage is now costing him time in this race. So Russell being told to let through Antonelli, and he has let through Antonelli. Alonso has come into the pits to go to the end of the race and has come out in 17th. So he's undercutting the guys ahead of him for the second time. Now, will it work? We'll see, but at the moment, Oscar Piastri pulling out another 7 points on Lando Norris to go 16 points clear with, 8 rounds to go in the season, plus 3 sprint races as well. So not really much, as I said, going on in Zandvoort. 28 laps to go. Alonso's closed so much up on the guys in the middle. Oh my gosh. I look at it, it's 11 seconds, and the next time I look at it, it's 7. Wow, Alonso with the fastest lap of the race now. And is he a points contender, potentially? We've got 25 laps. Oh, well, just over 25 laps to go at the circuit Zandvoort. Norris almost in DRS of Piastri's on the teetering edge of it. And at the moment, it's very much touch and go, because on lap 42 and 43, Piastri was quicker by an average of just under a tenth and a quarter. And then Norris was about a tenth and a quarter quicker over the last 2 laps. So it's touch and go at the moment. It's about whoever has the momentum, the pendulum swing going on in this race. But Alonso's got the fastest the fastest second and third sectors on that set of hard tyres that he's put into use. And he is going to be trying his very best to just drive through the field and use his tyre advantage to his advantage. He's got 20 laps younger tyres than the driver in front of him, who's Nico Hülkenberg, and just under 20 of pretty much everybody else. So he's got brand new, fresh tyres. It's like a 20-year-old man racing against a 60-year-old man in a 200-meter relay. Chances are the 20-year-old is going to win, unless the 60-year-old is really, really fit for his age. So 25 to go now at Zandvoort. Lap 48 of 72. And Piastri's actually pulled away from Norris a little bit now. But a lot of things in this race have just been very touch and go. So Alonso now in DRS of Hülkenberg. And this is going to be fun to watch as he attempts to get his way through the field. So Hamilton basically saying he got a massive snap. And yeah. Make sure we go visit the stewards after the race. I want to have a talk with them. That's what Sainz is saying. He's like, I will have a talk with them. Alonso trying to get past Hülkenberg now, and Hülkenberg once again being aided by Bortoleto, but I don't think it's going to work for him, because look how close Alonso is. Alonso, is he going to pull off a similar move to Leclerc? No, he's not, and he's still a little bit behind, but all these guys are just stuck behind the Haas's at the moment. The Haas drivers are literally forming what's famously been called a truly train, and here he comes. Right behind Hülkenberg. They've got the driver's eye camera, which is very, very helpful. And he can't go for it that time at the box 10, because it's just a little bit too... Oh, he's got him here. He's got him here. And he's going to go around the outside of the Sauber. And it's a good move from Alonso. He's up into 16th. And now he's got another 6 cars to get through to get to the points, as the Sky Sports commentators say. So this is going to be potentially the start of something here. Alonso just single-handedly entertaining us with this strategy, a two-stop, while everybody else is attempting to get to the end, while everybody else's tyres are crumbling. Alonso is absolutely flying out there. He's gotten past Hülkenberg, and now he's going to try and chase after Hülkenberg's teammate, Gabriele Bortoleto. But Antonelli's come into the pits. Softs. Woo! So, is Antonelli going to get his third fastest lap in F1 in just his 15th race? Oh, Alonso's got past Bortoleto. They haven't shown that, but Alonso's got past Bortoleto now. So, this man's on a mad one. 2 overtakes in 2 laps. He's going to keep the ball rolling. And I think he's going to cut his way through this pack so quickly here, because he's looking very, very pacey on that two-stop strategy. Ferrari are looking at bringing in Leclerc. And Ferrari are looking to pit Leclerc now. And gets himself into the pits. Make sure not to speed, just like I do on F1 25. Little secret for you, if you pause it just before you go into the pits and click pit assist on, you won't get penalised and you can go 170 miles an hour to come into the pits. But anyway, 2.1 second stop again from Ferrari. Very nice. And Leclerc coming out just ahead of Antonelli. Just about. Or is he? Oh, way too close. He's just about ahead of him. And these guys, they're going to need to chase. And there goes Antonelli trying to move around the outside. Oh, there's contact! And a double DNF for Ferrari. And that was a big one. Leclerc out. A disastrous day for Ferrari. And just like that, Antonelli getting involved in an incident with Leclerc. That was never going to pay off. And Ferrari double DNF for the first time in a long old while. And both of McLarens are into the pits. And for the second time... Actually, no, Alonso's going to gain from this because he's on new tyres. Although then again, he's on the hards and everybody else is on the softs. So now, Antonelli still going around the track. And McLaren slow stops. Very slow stops. But they can bank on that. They're like miles ahead of everyone else. So there's Verstappen in 3rd. Hadjar in 4th. And just like that, Hadjar's chances of a podium have just gone infinitely better. And this is going to be an interesting battle to the end. 18 laps to go. We've got another safety car. Antonelli. So there's Antonelli. Oh my goodness. Yeah, he's got a puncture. And that's going to drop him a little bit further down the pack, perhaps? Let's see. And no, actually, he's in the exact same position that he was in earlier. He's not lost a single position. So this is a replay. Antonelli, this is a rookie mistake, a rookie move from him there, because that move was never on. And Antonelli, yeah, that's got to be a 10-second penalty right there. They should have just served a 10-second penalty right there and then, but Leclerc on the radio, I think that was unnecessary. I mean, we can never know what happened, but the tyres felt good anyway. The tyres felt good anyway. I'm getting out. Russell's the incident with Leclerc's under investigation. I think it's going to be a grid penalty for Leclerc for Monza, which is not ideal for the Tifosi and for the Prancing Horses home Grand Prix. But to be fair, Il Commendatore would probably be rolling in his grave looking at the state Ferrari is in at the moment. Il Predestino out of the race, and Lewis Hamilton also out of the race. And yep, there's Il Predestino, as the Italian media have called him, Charles Leclerc, out of the race. And he did a very good job, because what he did was he waited until Lawson moved, and then he decided to try and get out of the way on the track. So that was very good driving from Leclerc there, to make sure that he wasn't endangering other drivers, and also so that his car could be cleared up a little bit easier as he went off the track. Lawson's like, oh my gosh, man, I couldn't see him at all. So, yeah, safety car's now out. So, safety car's out, and this is our second of the day. So, obviously 2 Ferraris out, so they're not going to be mentioned at all here. But 10-second penalty for Antonelli, and that is going to cost him points, potentially, if the pack behind him can stay close. But the order is Piastri and Norris, Verstappen and Hadjar, who's still in 4th, Russell in 5th, Albon 6th, and then Antonelli in 7th, Gasly in 8th, Alonso in 9th, Bortoleto 10th, Behrman 11th, Stroll 12th, Tsunoda 13th, Ocon 14th, Colapinto 15th, 16th Hülkenberg, 17th Lawson, and 18th is Sainz. But Lawson and Sainz are now unlapping themselves, and they're allowed to run free. Anyway, we're getting underway soon for the restart for this Dutch Grand Prix. We're going to have, hopefully, a fantastic final 15 laps of the race as we're about to get underway at Circuit Zandvoort. Now, is Oscar Piastri on his 3rd restart going to take the same route, which is go for it after the Hans Ernst bocht, or is he going to wait until the Kumo bocht this time, which is the corner before the banking? So, we're about to get back underway. 18 drivers left in this race out of the 20 that started. 2 Ferraris out of the race. Everybody else is still going. And there goes Oscar Piastri just before the Kumo bocht, turn 13. And he's away. Arie Luyendyk bocht now arriving rapidly for him. But look at Max Verstappen. Once again, he's gotten a good restart. Is he going to be able to do anything about Lando Norris? And here he comes down the inside. Nope, he's not going to be able to pull it off. But down the inside, Alex Albon tried to go of George Russell. Hadjar is doing a great job at the moment. Norris still in 2nd. Verstappen in 3rd. The McLarens on the hards. The Red Bull on the soft. So here we go. Order still Piastri, Norris, Verstappen, Hadjar, Russell, Albon, Antonelli, Gasly, Alonso, and Bortoleto. But the guys behind, Verstappen, Hadjar, Russell, Albon, and Antonelli, all of them are on the softs. Meanwhile, the next 3, Gasly, Alonso, and Bortoleto are on the hards, Behrman on the mediums, Stroll on the hards, Tsunoda on the softs, as Behrman gets ahead of Bortoleto for 10th. So Behrman is on course for his first points for quite a fair bit of time, as here comes Alonso, side by side with Gasly, and he gets ahead of him and gets himself up into 8th, or has he? No, he hasn't. Gasly has managed to outbrake him. Colapinto and Hülkenberg are having a battle, and Hülkenberg's, I think, lost out to Ocon and to Colapinto. As on the restart, it is still McLaren 1-2, but Max Verstappen and the Red Bull right behind the 2 McLarens. Then it's Hadjar, Russell, Albon, Antonelli, Gasly, Stroll, Behrman, Behrman, Stroll. And there's Behrman having a look at Alonso on those fresh mediums. He is going to be quicker. However, you've got to take into account Antonelli having a 10-second penalty, and he's also under investigation for speeding in the pits. So, he could be on for another penalty. Here comes Tsunoda, who, despite having engine issues, does make a move on Bortoleto to get up into 12th, and he needs to go for it if he wants to have a chance at scoring his first points again for the first time in a fair old while. So, Norris and Piastri right alongside each other now. And for the first time in a long time, Norris has DRS on Piastri. And this is an absolutely game on for the battle for the race win here. 13 to go here at Circuit Zandvoort. And it is... Oh, and Bortoleto loses another place, this time to Esteban Ocon, as the 2 Haases are working their way up the order. Meanwhile, Fernando Alonso still stuck behind Pierre Gasly, and Ollie Behrman still stuck behind Fernando Alonso. Lance Stroll still behind those 2, and Yuki Tsunoda rapidly closing in on those 4 drivers. Hulkenberg again getting ahead of Bortoleto, so does Colapinto, and this has been a poor race for Bortoleto. I don't know if he is. He's under pressure from Behrman, and Behrman gets ahead and up into 9th, and the camera crew the TV directors, damn TV directors, are focusing on the wrong thing, because Alonso's just been passed by Behrman. And Stroll looks like he's about to get ahead of Alonso as well. So Alonso really struggling now because of his strategy, which was pit on the hards with about 25 to go, and try and outpace everybody else. So Alonso just ahead of Stroll, but struggling at the moment. Bortoleto coming into the pits probably for a pair of softs, 4 soft tires on his car, because the hards really haven't worked for him. Here's a replay of Franco Colapinto, and this is him behind the Haas. This is a replay from lap 58, and this is him going for a move on Ocon, and it's a very aggressive move. There's a bit of contact, and there's actually quite a bit of contact, but no damage for either of them. And he tried the move which I recommended, which was the boxed 10 move, and it didn't work. Then Colapinto had to defend from Hülkenberg as well. Meanwhile, Antonelli another 5 seconds on his race time, so he's now got 15 seconds of penalties. Gasly is the only driver who can be his warrior, his hero. He needs to gain almost a second a lap on Gasly, but it's not going to be Gasly for much longer because Ollie Behrman has now got himself up into... Oh no, he hasn't. He hasn't got himself up into 8th. He's just behind Gasly, while Stroll and Alonso have swapped places, and now Tsunoda is right behind Alonso. So this battle in the midfield for the final four, for 8th, 9th and 10th in the points, is still very, very, very heated. Here comes Ollie Behrman. He's going to get himself up into 8th. He gets himself ahead of Pierre Gasly. And when is Lance Stroll going to get through? That is the question. When is Stroll, when is Alonso, and when is Tsunoda going to get through on Gasly? Because Gasly is a real cork in the bottle at the moment. But further back, Gasly now 2 seconds behind Ollie Behrman. And Lance Stroll really needs to get a move on if he has a chance, if he wants to have a chance of finishing in 9th, and in 8th I should say, and he's gotten ahead of Gasly. Alonso's going to try and follow suit soon, as will Tsunoda, and all of these guys are going to be getting points. A lot of midfield cars getting points today. Norris has got smoke coming out of his cockpit. To quote Nico Hülkenberg, oh, and he's got an engine problem! Lando Norris has an engine problem! Could this be his Malaysia? Could this be his Malaysia? Isack Hadjar is up into 3rd. Lando Norris has an engine failure. And that is him out of the 2025 Dutch Grand Prix. The British fans are in tears. The Dutch army are celebrating. But most importantly, the French are vibing right now because they are celebrating Isack Hadjar being in 3rd currently in this race. And we've got our 3rd safety car, or our 3rd retirement, and it's the 3rd frontrunner, and it's the man 2nd in the driver's standings. Could this be his Malaysia 2016? Could this be the race which costs him the World Championship? Isack Hadjar is now 3rd in the Racing Bull, and this man, this young Frenchman from Paris, born to Algerian immigrants, his father a doctor who was his mechanic who lost his finger because of how hard he worked to get Isack to Formula 1, will be rewarded. And this is an incredible story. Isack Hadjar now 3rd with 7 laps to go, and we're under safety car at the Zandvoort circuit. Norris would have lost 7 points to Piastri. Now it's going to be 25 points as it stands. So that's another 25 points that goes to Oscar Piastri. The gap goes from 9 points all the way up to 34 as Franco Colapinto comes into the pits to make a very risky strategy call to come in, because we don't know how long we're going to be before the restart. And as it stands, Hadjar, believe it or not, will move on to the exact same total as Nico Hülkenberg, and believe it or not, he will move just behind Hülkenberg because on finishes, Hülkenberg finished 5th in Spain. So as it stands, Hadjar, who finished 6th, his best result in Monaco, is on for a similar track, an even better result. Could this be a maiden podium for Formula 1's newest big talent? People were talking about Antonelli coming into this season. They were talking about Behrman. No, not many people were talking about the Le Petit Prost, the man who finished runner-up in Formula 2, Gabriel Bortoleto. The two drivers, arguably, who haven't been mentioned as much coming into the season as rookies, are the ones who have stood out, Bortoleto and Hadjar. Now, we're on lap 67 of 72 here at Zandvoort, and are we going to see a green flag ending? We probably will, but it's going to take a bit of time for them to clean up the track. But the race is going to get back underway. We're going to have 4 laps of green flag racing. Verstappen reporting a light drizzle. And there's Isack Hadjar. He has got 4 laps left until he gets a podium. Will George Russell deny him? Just like Valtteri Bottas denied Lance Stroll of a second in Azerbaijan, or how he denied Ocon of a podium in 2021 at Saudi Arabia. Let's get underway for the final 4 laps of the Dutch Grand Prix. We are back underway, and it's a great restart from Oscar Piastri, and crucially, Isack Hadjar has gotten away decently, but George Russell is still right behind him in this race. Hadjar is going to be defending like mad going into turn 1, And in terms of behind, there isn't really any moves being pulled off. Verstappen runs a little bit wide at turn 1, but he gets a good exit. He is right behind Piastri here. And could Verstappen, with his softs, be able to make a difference here on the McLaren? The car's going through the Hugenholzbocht like retro cars on rails. Colapinto up into 13th on those soft tyres. He is going to be aided by those. Lawson ahead of Hulkenberg as well now. The two of them on softs. Lawson's race rejuvenated a bit, but Verstappen is not gone from Piastri here. This race is not run. Piastri's win has not been guaranteed. Not if Max Verstappen has anything to do with it. Now McLaren are wondering, could Oscar have a similar issue to Lando? Or is this a Malaysia 2016 case where one of them suffers while the other one gains hugely in the Drivers' Championship? And funnily enough, one of them is British, in both scenarios. Meanwhile, Yuki Tsunoda up into 10th ahead of Pierre Gasly, and that is great news for him because it will be his first points since Imola, and he'll be getting 2 of them as it stands because Ollie Behrman will be moving up to 6th, Stroll up to 7th, Alonso up to 8th, and him up to 9th because of Kimi Antonelli's 15-second penalty, which will drop him right to the back. But Oscar Piastri, he's pulling away now for Max Verstappen, and the dream of a home win seems to be going away from Verstappen. But behind him, Isack Hadjar's dream of a podium is becoming more and more realised. He is doing an incredible job at the moment, and he is on for his first Formula 1 podium, although George Russell is still under a second behind him. So it is going to be a very, very tight ending. And this has been one of the best races of Formula 1 this season, despite the occasional moments of dullness. It's not been as good as the British Grand Prix, but it's been the best dry race anyway. We look like we're going to get a shock first podium for Isack Hadjar. There's 2 to go in the Dutch Grand Prix, and it's Piastri, Verstappen, Hadjar, Russell, assigned to get ahead of Bortoleto, Albon, Antonelli, but he's got a 10-second penalty, so he'll be at the back. So technically, Behrman's 6th, Stroll 7th, Alonso 8th, 9th Tsunoda, 10th Ocon, so it has on for double points at the moment. And then it's Gasly, Colapinto, who's in 12th, just off the points. And if he had been able to if he can close up to Ocon, and Gasly dropped 2 places there to Colapinto and to Lawson, because he swapped positions, and Colapinto needs to close up now, and Gasly has dropped all the way down to 16th now because he's had to swap positions with Colapinto, and that has not gone well for the Alpine driver at all. But Colapinto is chasing points. He's 2.7 seconds behind Ocon. He needs to try and close up, but he's probably not going to be able to because he's only got a lap and a half to do it now. He's on fresh new soft tyres compared to his teammate and compared to the guys ahead of him, and he needs to hope and pray that there's another penalty up ahead for him to get his first points for Alpine and his first points since 2024. I think it was at the US Grand Prix, but this is just like the Malaysian Grand Prix in 2016. Gasly and Tsunoda incident has been noted, so that could be a saving grace for Colapinto in his chase for first points with Alpine and first points of the season. But 1 lap to go here at Zandvoort. Oscar Piastri still leads. He's on for yet another victory this season. Verstappen 2nd, but the camera is focusing on Isack Hadjar. McLaren's Oscar Piastri on for his 7th win of the season, and to extend his championship lead over Lando Norris in the standings. Isack Hadjar on for his first podium. Max Verstappen on for his 118th in Formula 1, and at the moment Piastri on for yet another fastest lap. In fact, if Piastri wins this, he will take a Grand Slam, and this will be his first, as far as I'm aware, in Formula 1. It has been a dominant display from Piastri, and he's led from minute 1. He took pole, he's taken fastest lap, he's led every lap, and he's going to win. And this Grand Slam, this statistic, not many have completed it, but Piastri is going to become one of them. And what a way to extend his championship lead over Lando Norris by leading every lap in pure domination. Max Verstappen's going to finish in 2nd, but 3rd is going to be Isack Hadjar. Here comes Oscar Piastri around the Arie Luyendyk. He is going to win the 2025 Dutch Grand Prix at Zandvoort. 2nd place is going to be Max Verstappen, taking another home podium. And Isack Hadjar takes his maiden Formula 1 podium. And that is incredible. He is up into the top 10 of the Formula 1 standings now. And that is incredible for Hadjar. Meanwhile, in 4th, George Russell. In 5th, Alex Albon. Ollie Behrman with his best finish in Formula 1 with a 6th, which moves him out of last in the drivers that have scored points championship. And in fact, it's now Yuki Tsunoda who's last, but Tsunoda has also picked up 2 points. So he's now on 12 points, but Behrman picking up 8 points. He's now on the same amount of points as Carlos Sainz in the championship, and that is incredible. Now, then in 7th, Lance Stroll, and 8th, Fernando Alonso, the 2 Aston Martins, getting themselves ahead of Esteban Ocon in the standings. Stroll ahead of Alonso, and that was such an incredible Formula 1 race, and one of the best we have seen this season. A great result for Isack Hadjar, and that was absolutely fantastic. He is the driver of the day. His best finish, previously 6th in Monaco, but he is going to celebrate his first Formula 1 podium. And Isack Hadjar, I'm gonna find a meme which perfectly describes it. This meme perfectly describes Isack Hadjar in a nutshell right now. I'm gonna put it on screen in a second if I can. Grand Prix in Formula 1, and after everything that happened in Australia, people were doubting him, and he has now turned it around over the course of this season. 8th in Japan, 10th in Saudi Arabia, 9th in Imola, 6th in Monaco, 7th in Spain, 8th in the sprint in Spa, and now a maiden podium for the Frenchman. And another driver, another rookie with a personal best finish is Ollie Behrman. He finishes 6th. The 2 rookies who have scored points are Hadjar and Behrman. Colapinto just missing out by the smallest of margins. And now Behrman can celebrate his best finish in Formula 1 with a 6th. That is better than his previous best result, which was, I'm pretty sure it was 8th last season in Saudi Arabia. Or did he finish 7th in Saudi Arabia? Let me go and check that actually. He finished 7th in Saudi Arabia, so it's his personal best finish in F1. An absolutely incredible race. Victory for McLaren, and Racing Bulls take their first ever podium in Formula 1 as an outfit. And somebody, as I check Isack Hadjar's Wikipedia, is changing his page to show his first ever Formula 1 podium. And now Racing Bulls, after a season where they've had ups and downs, they've been quick at times and at other times completely at the back, are now celebrating their first podium as a team as the Racing Bulls outfit. Before that, they were known as AlphaTauri, and their last podium with AlphaTauri was all the way back in 2021 at Azerbaijan with Pierre Gasly, who was also an expert in these conditions and also a French driver. So this result, absolutely incredible. And there's Piastri celebrating with Hadjar. You can see the height difference between the two of them. But Isack Hadjar, what a result. Hats off to him. And yeah, this has been an incredible race. Thank you guys for watching. There will be highlights going out tonight, and I'll be giving my thoughts tomorrow on it. This has been a 2-hour stream, so my voice is totally screwed. But Isack Hadjar, number 9, Le Petit Prost, taking his maiden Formula 1 podium. Absolutely incredible. And he's celebrating with his mechanics. Zach Brown gives him a handshake. And Zach's like, well done, kid. You got it because my driver had an engine failure. And the FIA lady's like, no, don't go. And then he runs to the crowd, to his mechanics, to the people who have worked so hard, blood, sweat and tears, to get him the best result in his Formula 1 career, and Racing Bull's best result as an outfit, and AlphaTauri's best result as an outfit, if you include them, since Pierre Gasly's victory in Monza in 2020 and his 3rd place in Azerbaijan in 2021. Oscar Piastri extends his championship lead to 34 points, and Max Verstappen takes his 5th podium in a row in the Netherlands at his home race. 3 wins and 2 second place finishes. But 2 Red Bulls on the podium, but it's not Yuki Tsunoda or Liam Lawson. It is Isack Hadjar. So, thank you guys for watching this stream. I'm gonna go now. My voice is screwed. Goodbye.